It's why people who easily make money keep easily making money. It's why people who make money and lose money, make money and lose money, go through that cycle again and again and again. Hello, my friends. It's Diane Armitage back for another Catalyst Code. And yes, you have more power than you think. You do have every ability to change your world, and that is freedom. The Catalyst Code is where your mindset meets momentum. Every episode is going to be packed with the real strategies, the raw truths, and the next level insights to step into your power and achieve what actually matters to you. No fluff, no fuss, no excuses. We're just handing you the code to unlock the door, finally making it really happen in your life. Now, I was thinking after I did my last episode, you ever get tired of the people who promise you the magic pill to your soon-to-be magical life? Like, you may have thought I was just doing that just that very moment. Whatever you think you might be lacking, right? Health, money, love, business, profits soaring to the skies. They have the magic pill answer up their sleeve. Well, I'm here to tell you that I can help you get to the magical life you envision for yourself, but I don't have the pill. You have the pill. Actually, you are the magic pill. And maybe you just haven't figured that out yet. See, you've got a chemistry set in your own mind, and it's either working for you or it's working against you. I'm here to help you free your mind. I can help get it working for you. And I know that may sound sort of pithy and sort of, like, a children's book like Harry Potter, or actually like what Morpheus used to say to Neo. Neo didn't believe it either. I mean, I don't even know you. How could I possibly be saying these things to you? But the fact is, I do know that you absolutely deserve what you dream for your life. I know that you absolutely deserve the biggest goals that you set for yourself, for your business, for your family. I mean, what do you really want? I mean, way down deep inside, what do you really, really want? When you give me just a few minutes every week in this Catalyst Code gig I'm doing here, you're going to come to understand exactly how you can access all of the magical life. And the answer has been sitting right there next to you all these years. I'm setting you up to win, which is easy on my part because you're already a winner. You just don't know how big of a winner you really are. I'm not going to drop all of this on you at once. This is a catalyst. I'm here to speed this whole thing up without you having to expend all that energy. I'm your chemical reaction for that chemistry set in your mind. Initially, I'm the chemical reaction. And then, of course, you're going to become your own chemical reaction. I help people turn their stuff around for good. In my own coaching business, these last few years, I've helped hundreds of people and businesses turn it around. And for the 27 years that I was working and writing with Bob Proctor, we helped millions of people turn it around. My only goal, his only goal, our only goal was to create chemistry set solutions for the wannabe entrepreneur who was afraid to take that big step, to the millionaire business person who already had millions, but wanted to increase millions without burning themselves out in the process. When Bob Proctor first found me, and I talked about that, I think, in my second episode. When Bob first found me, I'd been working myself to the bone. I figured it was the only way to success. It's what I had been taught all my life. It's what I saw in my own family all my life. I was like the Mandalorian, about his lifestyle in that Star Wars show. It is the way. It is the way. You don't question it. You don't fight it. It's just the way. Well, the way in my world seemed to be a lot of work. But I still felt like that Wile E. Coyote guy when the roadrunner zips across his path, beep, 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 beep. I'm up and I'm chasing that dream with gusto and my knees are pumping, but I'm not really getting anywhere. I wasn't gaining ground on the dream. And after a few patient months of watching me chase myself off of cliffs, Bob said, Di, I don't think your way is working. Why don't you try my way? Bob's way. It worked. It worked in my life in every imaginable, magical way possible. And just to be fair, he's not the only guy out there teaching the way. And he was more than happy to teach me how to teach you how it works. He did it slowly over 27 years of days and weeks of conversing and working with each other so that it became this ingrained thing in me. So now I know what I teach works. And what I teach you works in every aspect of your life. See, once you get how it works, this chemistry set thing, it's all the same. It's all the same. I can help you understand this in a way you've never understood or applied before. Or you, in that reasonable mind of yours there, can continue to question me. I get it. You may be thinking, how? How can this be about some kind of chemistry set in my mind? How has someone never taught me about the chemistry set in my mind? There are all kinds of other real life things that are holding me back here. I mean, Diane, let's get serious. And I bet you're pretty quick to point it all out too. Maybe you didn't get the right breaks. Maybe you went to the wrong schools. Maybe you didn't marry into the right family. Maybe you were born into the wrong family. Maybe you married the wrong person. Definitely going to be their fault. Maybe you can't get the boss to notice you at work. Maybe you're always passed over for promotions. Maybe you miss the big sales every single damn time. Someone else always horns in your way and steals it away from you. And then, of course, there's the economy. Especially this economy. Recession is coming. The Fed just raised the rates again. Inflation is on the rise. Everyone is laying everyone off. The price of eggs have skyrocketed. I mean, look at all that piled up against you. And this is what you tell me. Look at what's piled up against me. It's what's in the way. It's what's holding me back. You're like a thoroughbred horse. I get it. You're on the race of your life. You've got the goods. You were born for racing to the top. You've got all the training you need. You thought you had deposited yourself on the success track to greatness, but you just can't break out of the pack. There's too much holding you back. Freedom is out there. You could feel it. You could smell it. Wide open space all the way to the finish line, but you feel mired and hampered and squished in. I get it. I was there. I've been in that space right in the middle of the pack, straining and fighting to get ahead, working so hard to create different results and really not getting ahead at all until I finally listened to this mentor of mine, Bob Proctor, who told me, your way isn't working, Di. Why don't you try my way? And that's when I began to learn the real power of my mind. Now you may say, mind. All that positive mindset, hocus pocus stuff can only get you so far in the real world. I'm out to create results, Diane. I want real results. I don't have time for this mamby-pamby positive thinking mind melt stuff. I get it. I mean, you wouldn't be here if you hadn't already tried the think positive approach. But nothing changes. Oh, it might change by a blip, maybe 5% or 10%, maybe more money than last year, that kind of a thing. But nothing extraordinary happens. You're not making these big leaps forward into that life over there. You know, the life I told you about in my first episode? It's your mind, my friend. It's your mind working against you. I mean, think about it a moment. Tell me if this hasn't been you at least once in your life. Okay, you set an intention to do something that you know will make your life better, only to eventually, usually sooner than later, continue doing what you've been doing all along. You may even desperately want the change. You want better grades in school. You want a loving, healthy marriage. You want to lose that weight. You want to be a hugely successful entrepreneur. You go to the motivational seminars. You take the business classes. You take all sorts of notes. You make a vow that you'll take just one of those notes, one thing you learned, and apply it every single day in your business. You decide you're going to get up an hour earlier every single morning to work on writing your book. You know, that book that's been in your head, that's been nagging you for years, or you're going to work out so that you drop some of that extra weight. You want this result. And you go at it with gusto for a couple weeks, maybe in a couple months, but in most cases, the gusto loses gas. And eventually, you just stop doing it. Even if it's working, you stop doing it. Why does nothing change? Because you're looking to change results by trying to change your behavior. I'm going to say that again. You're looking to change your results by trying to change your behavior. But virtually all of our behaviors are governed by our habitual patterns of thinking. Habitual patterns of thinking that we call paradigms. A paradigm is a mental program that has control over our habitual behavior. It is a mental program that has control over our habitual behavior. And it resides in our subconscious mind, down there deep in the cave, where we don't even consciously recognize it for what it is doing in our lives. Now, not all paradigms are bad. Not all paradigms are bad at all. You learn how to keep your hand off a hot stove. You learn how to look both ways before crossing in traffic. You learn all these habitual patterns, these habitual behavioral patterns along the way from being an infant forward. All of our behaviors, they are so ingrained we don't even think about what we're doing, we just do them. Have you ever traveled to Europe? And have you ever driven a car in Europe after you've driven a car in the United States? And all of a sudden you're on the wrong side of the road. And the worst thing that happens is when you pull up to merge onto another street, you're looking the wrong way to merge. Have you ever noticed that? I mean, it happens all the time because suddenly you're being faced with a behavioral change and your habitual pattern kicks in and says, wait, we're not supposed to do that. We do the thing that we've always done. Our same results create our same daily, same weekly, same monthly, same yearly, lifelong results. Now, let me ask you this. Easier example. When you get out of bed in the morning, what are the first three things you do? What are the first three things you do when you get out of bed in the morning? Well, you may go to the bathroom. You may brush your teeth. You may splash water on your face. You may pull your slippers on. And if you do, it's always this foot first before you put the other slipper on the other foot. You may make the bed. You may shuffle down to the coffee pot. My best friend makes her bed with all the fancy pillows before she does any of the above. I know it doesn't take you long to think about the first three things you do every morning. Because why? Because you've been doing it thousands of times for years and years and years. Have you ever tried mixing that pattern up? I mean, tomorrow morning, I dare you to try mixing the pattern up and observe what happens to your suddenly painful, confused mind. Your body may not even know how to act because all it does is run on the program. These behaviors are simply habitual patterns of thinking, of paradigms. Everything. The way you tie your shoes, the way you drive your car. I mean, I remember the first time I had to learn how to drive a stick shift, and it was a painful experience. I mean, I had purchased this brand new car with a stick shift, and I wanted to take the dang car back to the car dealer. I was so frustrated, but I didn't even know how to drive it well enough to get it back to the dealer. But with conscious, repetitive practice, I got better at it. And before I knew it, I was unconscious about it. It was all mechanical. I haven't driven a stick shift in probably 20 years. And a few months ago, I went up to Oregon to visit my mom. I ended up with a stick shift car, which is kind of a surprise to me. And in a second, I was driving that car. It's automatic. It stays ingrained in you for years, even if you haven't activated the activity of it in your life. That's how the subconscious operates in every aspect of our lives. It's why people who easily make money keep easily making money. It's why people who make money and lose money, make money and lose money, go through that cycle again and again and again. It's why people buy a franchise or step out into the entrepreneurial world and they totter and they stumble along because they've never been an entrepreneur before. And they tell themselves that a lot. I don't know how to be an entrepreneur. No one ever taught me how to be an entrepreneur. They do not have that habitual pattern of expectation of successful, profitable entrepreneurship ingrained in their mind. And no one has ever taught them how that science works. This is something they don't teach in school. They don't even teach it in MBA programs. Even the most successful entrepreneurs in the world don't know how to teach it to other people because they don't understand how they're consistently successful any more than the poor guy in your company doesn't understand why he can't double his gross revenue in a year or even a month. In my number 2 episode, I told you that it was 30 years ago when I finally got up the courage to chase my own dream as a freelance writer. And my first 2 clients became Craig Proctor and Bob Proctor, no relation at all, though they did eventually work together. And they became my clients in the first full day of my new business. Now, at the time, Craig was the most successful real estate agent in all of North America, in all of the world. When I started working with him, he was just beginning to train other agents on how he did what he did because he was selling more than 100 homes a year as an agent. Now, if you look at the national averages, most agents don't sell more than 4. Top agents typically don't sell more than 10 or 12, maybe 15. He was selling 120, then he was selling 150, then he was selling 200. Now, of course, a lot of this real estate business is mechanics, right? You get this piece of equipment. You send out this many mailers. The mailers say this. And while Craig certainly was inventive, even in that arena, there were thousands of agents who had that piece of equipment and were sending exactly that same number of mailers that said exactly this, but they were nowhere close to being the most successful agent in North America, not by a long shot. Craig, you see, was using the chemistry of his mind in a totally unconscious way. We call that an unconscious competent. He had absolutely no idea how to explain how he did what he did. It was just an unconscious pattern embedded in his subconscious mind. And then he found Bob Proctor, who was able to finally explain it all. In fact, Bob joined Craig to explain it to all of the real estate agents because Craig still really didn't understand it. He was like, well, I just do this. I just do this every day. This is just how it works. And it worked beautifully and magically for him. And when he decided that he didn't really want to sell real estate anymore, he became the top real estate trainer in the world. I mean, he just moved boom, boom, boom like that. Bob was able to explain it all. I remember the first time I sat in on a meeting between Bob and Craig. We were sitting in Craig's kitchen one sunny morning, and we were doing our big planning meeting. And Bob said, you know, if an agent can sell 10 houses, that same agent can sell 100. Truth is, any agent can, but very few agents do. Agents can always be improving their systems and strategies, the mechanics, but in the end, it's not the mechanics of the job that keeps them from selling 100 houses. It's what they've got locked in that powerhouse subconscious mind. It's the paradigm. If you want to change, you've got to start right there. You've got to understand the science of your mind. Once you understand, then you know how to build new paradigms. Then you know how to build new behaviors. And then you begin creating that whole new magical life. When your subconscious is in alignment with your goals, those big dreams, then you begin to knock those goals out of the park. Then you know you have the tools to cut down the forests, level the mountains, bridge the streams, and cause the desert to bloom. I'm going to teach you how to reach that alignment. And it all starts with your conscious mind. What you think all day long. So each week ahead, I'm going to encourage you to participate in a little catalysis mind work. Catalysis. Oh, that one just came to me. Ooh, that's a great word, isn't it? Catalysis. It sounds like something I made up. And yes, I make up a lot of words. Writer. We can do that. We're allowed to make up words. I mean, how did we come up with all the words in the first place? Writers, right? So now I don't make up nearly as many words as my dear friend Mark Victor Hansen, who created Chicken Soup for the Soul. that guy, he just grabs these new word combos out of thin air. But that's another story. Okay, so catalysis. Catalysis is a process that alters a result while under the influence of a catalyst. Okay, it's a process that alters your result because of an influencer on you. And I'm not talking Kardashian influencers. In other words, in human speak, here's your catalysis homework. Okay, you ready? I want you to be consciously attentive and consciously aware of how you're thinking. How's that for catalysis homework? Catalysis. That's it. Not too strenuous, right? But I tell you, if you just pay attention to the first 7 minutes of your thoughts after you wake up in the morning, you're going to begin to see and hear and feel why your results are the way they are. Good, bad, indifferent. Fabulous, not so fabulous. You will begin to understand once you pay attention, consciously attentive, consciously aware of how you're thinking, why your results are the way they are. And that recognition alone is your catalysis. You're beginning to get a peek at your results because of a catalyst, your paradigm that's running the show behind the scenes all these years. You are pulling back the curtain. See, once you recognize the many thoughts and emotional responses you have coming up all day long in response to people and ideas and outside circumstances, you're going to start understanding how those thoughts and emotional responses and reactions correspond to the results you see in your life. And then you're going to understand that it's not the behavior that changes the results in your life. And this should be a giant relief to you, because behaviors can be a pain in the neck when you're trying to change something. It's not the behavior, it's the thought that drives the behavior. It starts with your thought. What are you thinking? What are you dreaming? What do you really want in your life? And what are you thinking about that? That's it for me today. I'm going to see you on my next episode, and I can't wait for you to see what I've got in store for you then. I'll see you later on the Catalyst Code. Please like, share, and subscribe. Very much appreciated. Now go out there and be a catalyst.